First of all, this was a great bowl game. Before we get into the football game itself, our guys had an outstanding time. It was, great hospitality. They enjoyed themselves. Obviously, the game didn't go the way we wanted it, but you got to understand that this is one of the best things about college football in terms of the bowl and what we offer student athletes and the opportunity to go somewhere different and have different experiences, and they really enjoyed themselves. Obviously, the game didn't go the way we wanted it to, but I have to give hats off to the Las Vegas Bowl and just how they treat both teams. And it's just an outstanding bowl. I've been fortunate to go to a lot of them as an assistant, and top notch, first class.
Major, from your perspective, what happened offensively after the second quarter?
Turnovers. We had some situations where there was miscommunication on a route. There was miscommunication on a pick six that really swayed the game. Being down 10, still think you're in the football game in the third quarter, and then going down 17. For how we were producing in the first half, almost, in a lot of people's eyes became insurmountable. Going down 17, and that's the bottom line. That's what we talked about. Neither team had really turned the football over in the first half. It's going to come down to ball security and how we play in the second half, and we didn't take care of the ball. It was similar of the Navy game. It was very close at halftime, and then you have 3 turnovers, bang, bang, bang in the third quarter, and then the game gets away from you.
Major, you mentioned miscommunication. Is that this late? It wasn't anything new that you installed. It was just
it's nothing
surprising though this late in the year to let that happen.
No, when you've coached enough or played enough, that the miscommunication happens every game at the quarterback wide receiver position. What you have to do is try to coach through it and make sure you can become more consistent. And obviously, we did a poor job from a quarterback and a wide receiver coach position where we didn't get it communicated properly. We didn't get it coached well. So, as we go into next spring, we've got to find ways to get those things communicated better, where people understand they're on the same page and you don't have costly turnovers.
In general, Major, your thoughts about coaching your first game as the head coach of this team?
Well, in general, they stink. We lost. That's how I judge myself as an assistant, as a player, and now as a head coach. Is if you win, you did great. If you lose, you did bad. So, didn't enjoy it. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. You don't get to choose your circumstances. You get to choose your attitude, and that's one thing that we've got to understand when we come back next spring. Is we lose a great senior class, and those are the circumstances. So, what is our attitude going forward, and how we prepare?
Cameron, the run defense on Humphrey was really good in the first quarter, and then once he was able to start bouncing things outside, what changed? What adjustments were you making?
Nothing really changed as far as our game plan towards it. They just started making plays. It went down to 0 count football. Guys got to just show up, and we didn't adjust well enough to make plays after the first quarter, and he ended up getting a lot of yards. And that's all I really have to say about that.
Well, when you hold somebody 2 of 12 on third down conversions, you're doing a great job as a defense. When you are 7 of 17 on third downs as an offense and you're leaving your defense out there too long, that's what happens. I'll answer that for Cam. We did a great job on him in the first half, but in the second half with the turnovers, the lack of field position and staying on the field too long as a defense, that's what's going to happen. When you give a great back that many at-bats and that many opportunities, one's going to spit at some point, and it did.
Tyler, your thoughts about the season ending? You've obviously had a great time here. Y'all had great success as a senior class. Ending in this fashion.
It's terrible. No other way to describe it. They beat the crap out of us. We didn't show up. We didn't execute the way we needed to. I thought we prepared well. We prepared hard. Obviously, it wasn't good enough. I just hope moving forward that they understand that you should never want to feel like this. They should hopefully look at all of us and see how I just got done crying. And hopefully the underclassmen see that and understand that going forward you just got to be better.
Tyler, how much did it affect you guys not have a chance to have in the lineup here?
It's next man up. That's how football is. Somebody's not there, next man up.
Cameron, your thoughts as well about what Tyler discussed. Y'all had a great year in this fashion.
I don't really. I gotta just say I don't think on it. I have feelings everywhere about it. Of course, it's not good. My main concern really is just the guys keeping what we started going. Even though we ended it this way, and it's always good to have a win going into the off season because that's waiting for the team. But this needs to be the motivation to even have a better off season and try to do what we couldn't do.
made the announcement before the game about Chance. Coach, what can you say just about what happened, or the decision there, and what happened that he was suspended?
Well, you know, first of all, you know, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. No one's perfect in this world. And he made a mistake, went past curfew. It was a clearly stated rule. It's a standard that we have. Everybody understood it. Does it make him a bad human being? Absolutely not. He's a young person who made a mistake. He's highly competitive. I love Chance Allen. He's done a lot for our football team. He brings a lot of energy to our football team. But one thing that we have to learn as a football team is to be a championship team, you have to have championship habits. And when you look at the championship teams around the NFL or NBA basketball or Major League Baseball, you don't see things like that popping up on championship teams. And the standard is not going to change. And that's what we have to understand. And it popped up this year against Navy. It popped up against SMU. And that's how those games happen. It's not coincidence. So going forward, we've got to create championship habits in everything that we do. It's not isolated to one human being. He's done a lot for this program, but it's something that we have to understand as a football team, that the standard of a championship's been set. And we've got to work towards that, and everything that we do on a daily basis has to be towards that goal. It's not going to change.
Moving forward, Major, obviously the first stuff will be coaching staff, but what is your focus maybe the first month or so, things you have to, now that you have the bowl game's over, you can start focusing on?
Well, you know, it's always players first. So it's recruiting and it's recruiting coaches. So it's recruiting players and recruiting coaches. So that's where the vast majority of these next 3-4 weeks before the kids come back to school in January will be. We'll obviously have our off-season stuff like that in place. There'll be some continuity in what we're doing in the off-season training. But for me right now, it's about these recruits, it's about these players going forward, and then finding the right coaches for these players.
Cameron Head had another huge game. How would you sum up his impressive freshman season?
Outstanding player, probably the most explosive player I've ever seen on the defensive side of the ball with my two eyes. It's kind of indescribable, man. Just a great dude, just great player, just all around animal. Great season.
I'm sorry.
Oh, nothing. Go ahead.
You used Brandon Wilson today on offense. I don't think he had done that since the game last year. What was kind of the decision and game plan to use him?
Different type of offense, but same philosophy in terms of the run game, the limited multiple receiver sets. So, you know, some of the packages that you're going to be in defensively don't require as many defensive backs. He's somebody who brings explosiveness to that position. We didn't get the run game going. We talked about it. We've got to be able to stop the run. I thought we did for the most part until we didn't stay on the field long enough as an offense, but we didn't run the ball. And that's been the theme of this season. I mean, we have not run the football at all as an offense. And so we've got to go back in the spring. Does that mean we're going to line up in the I backfield and toss the ball to Bo Jackson? No, it doesn't. But we have to understand that that's what we have to do to win games. It stood the test of time. It's one of those deals that when you look at championship teams, you don't see teams that throw the ball 65 and 70 times like we had to do against Memphis to stay competitive, win championships. They just don't. So going back to your direct question with Brandon, that's what we were trying to do is establish some explosiveness. If we're not going to be able to hat people and block people, then we need somebody that can also, along with Duke, break tackles and make plays on his own.
Okay, thanks, guys.